Welcome and good evening, everyone, to the S.E.A.R Mastermind Show. I am your MC, the Mastermind Coach, Bakar Obey, here with three phenomenal individuals. Two you should know, you know very well. One, she is a phenomenal, outstanding woman, one of my mentors in life. She's been with me since, well, I was born. And just an industrious woman. All right. She wears many hats, carries many titles. She's a mother, mentor. She's a project manager, a
And you're a
woman of
financial.
womb. And I was getting to that one.
Okay.
Clearly, your financial conductor and our resident specialist in S.E.A.R when it comes to finances. My sister, Majida Bay. Ooh,
Hello.
and special guest, and also our co-host. He is a commercial professional in the trucking industry, longtime entrepreneur from direct sales all the way to owning his own trucking company. Has kept it in the family, and has even been growing, and making some waves on YouTube as one of the number one topics when it comes to trucking and education and getting your CDL. He's at the top of the list. Happy to call him also my brother and brother-in-law, Mr. Maurice Bay. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show, you guys. And tonight, you all in. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Tonight, you all in for a special treat because we are having this conversation about perceived value of the high value individuals, men, women, your identity. And tonight we have the special pleasure of having a man who's been a mentor to a few of us here in the room. I know Majida for one. I don't know if he wants to claim me, but but also has been a one for our family. Um, Definitely would check a lot of boxes in this conversation about high value men, and you can see on the wall he's definitely adding a lot of value to the people all around him. Our friend, financial advisor to the family, Mr. John Epting. Welcome to the show tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
And I'm sure they're gonna have me doing those intros from now on. All right,
that
too long. Normally we just dive right in, but as the 3 minutes in, we lost everybody. We lost everybody already. And if you've been following, oh man, she's got the online jokes. Yes, I am your accountability and habit coach. I've used many titles before as well. I can't stand you, sis. Oh, that's lovely. They say jack of all trades, I'm a master of service. Is what I do here. So,
what's your week, bro? How your week been?
Yeah, we're gonna jump into it. Man, I've had a phenomenal week, man. It's been transformative in the way of actually one of the big wins. And usually we start off with your wins, but I'll go ahead and start with a win. One of my big wins was finally finding a coach for my coaching to invest in me, just to get in integrity, get in alignment. And man, when I held the mirror up to me this week, oh, there's a whole. I thought my blind spot was about one diameter, almost close. Oh man, it's like 150,000. He blew that thing wide open. So I'm excited. Because it felt like the world was closing in. Man, I got a few things to work out, but man, he just opened up my world to a whole lot of things I'm gonna address. So I haven't been this happy, this excited in a year. So looking forward to the journey ahead. How about yourselves?
Quickly, you ever heard the name Ray Hagan, Bakar?
I have not.
He starts off all of his speeches and he says, I want you to make this circle with your hand right here. And he tells everybody to make this circle. And then he says, this circle represents your knowledge, your body of knowledge. And all of this stuff out here represents all of the stuff that you don't know. So he's piggybacking on what you're saying just now, man.
I love that. Yeah. Now, when I think about where I am and who I am in the world and how many more people are walking around, that's enough evidence that I don't know anything. So I come here in complete humility to learn and even in my coaching, it's guiding people on the simple journey that I've been on. But welcome tonight, man. I'd love to hear from you. What's been going on with you all in the last couple of weeks?
Working, grinding. You know what? I'm gonna slow down. Ladies first.
Oh, I
Work.
missed one. I missed one. If you don't mind, if you want to introduce our other guest.
Oh, my wife, Yasmin. You want me to introduce her? Yeah, Yasmin's in the background as well. She just kind of she hanging out in the background. She'll fill in if she
Wow.
hears something she wants to jump in on.
I'm gonna push her buttons tonight in the best ways. We're gonna learn everything that we don't know about Maurice by the end of this call. I'm looking forward to it. Well, welcome. Majida, tell us what's been going on.
What's been going on? Working, getting some things in order. I think I shared with y'all last time that I am working on obtaining my contractor's license. So
That's
studying
exciting.
for that. Yep, studying for that, and um, yeah, that's the main thing. I was able to get some things that have been lingering for the past few months out of the way this week, and so feel pretty good about like clearing the fog and being able to laser being focused on what I want to accomplish in the coming months. So yeah, that's about it.
Good stuff.
Outstanding. Yasmin, you mind chiming in? Want to share a little bit of what's been going on with you this week?
What's been going on with me?
Yes, with you.
Oh, being a stay-at-home mother, watching my nieces this week.
All right.
Oh, that's right. She did take my children. Appreciate
I
you.
did. We scheduled it, and I did it. I took them, we went to the pool, had fun, came home to my house, and enjoyed each other's company, and spent time with grandma this week. Um,
Oh, that's
what did I
right.
do?
We celebrated birthdays this week.
And
Oh man, this was a
birthdays,
busy week, wasn't it?
my mother's birthday, my parents' anniversary, both parents' birthdays, cousin's birthday. Celebrated those this week.
It's been a whole
Did some work for a client of mine, Mr.
love
Richardson.
it,
Y'all know him.
love it,
So,
love it. Well, thank you for showing up for all the birthdays because they came and gone. I got to shout out everybody when I saw 'em. But you know what? Everybody's doing different job. What about you, Mrs. John? Mr. John?
Over the last couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely. What's been going on? Or even this year. And tell us how your 2021 has been going.
Oh my goodness, it's been going exactly the way I wanted it.
Ooh, say more.
I get some. I'm getting rest. I'm making sure I'm staying focused on me and my mental health. I'm being able to spend as much time as I want with my wife and daughter. Pretty cool. Creating new relationships, also strengthening old ones. So that's been actually that's probably the highlight right there. So that's been pretty cool. Got a couple of business ventures I'm involved into. Some new ones, new sources of income that's just taken off. And yesterday we celebrated. We had a daughter that passed away about 10 years ago, 5-year-old daughter, and yesterday she would have been 15. And to commemorate that, I finally allowed my 16-year-old to get a dog. She's been asking for 11 years. So we have a new member in our family as well. So
Wow.
Charlie's out there somewhere.
And growing the family.
I guess so. Yeah. At least it's a boy dog. So I'm not the only male in the house anymore.
That has got to be torture. I have been there before. It's like, man.
That's all exciting. All exciting.
I've had all girls. So, but I wouldn't change it. I think the Lord gave me what I needed. He needed to soften me. So they have definitely done that.
I heard a story one time about a guy that was going through some issues in his house, a house full of women. He got a dog, a boy dog, and he said the dog got so fed up with what was going on, the dog left.
Dang.
And left him there with all the women in the house.
That's funny. That's a funny story. So happy and grateful that you all have held on.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, it's not for the
You
faint
know
of
what?
heart. Not for the weak.
Well, I'm looking forward to the day. Looking forward to the day I can join the club. I don't know about being a girl dad. I've been a girl uncle long enough, and it's fun. It's been great. I think boys kind of age a little bit. They harder up front, but on the back end, smooth sailing. With the girls, I don't feel like you can ever take your eyes off of them. You feel that way?
Yeah, so.
Both of them tough.
Right on time. Right
I
on
say
time.
both of them tough.
Both of them tough.
I say both of them tough. But look though, hey Dakira,
Hey,
how you doing?
good.
I'm not ready.
I'm gonna run down my week real quick so we can get into this, man. I'm excited about briefing y'all on my week that I had this week.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Had a good week, man. I believe I had a good week. So like I forgot to update y'all last time we met in the mastermind about last month. So today's August the 13th. Last month I closed out YouTube with a BMIB, a best month in business last month. So that was good. And here's the thing that hit me like last night or night before last. So like every month before last month, before July, so I don't get paid on my truck by the hour. Y'all know that already. But it takes me X amount of hours to do a certain amount of work, right? So when I break that down and I can come to approximately how much I'm making in an hour on the truck. Well, normally, obviously, my YouTube channel, that same figure is normally behind or less than what I make on the truck. Last month, it went to more. It actually almost doubled, actually, what I make on the truck. Based on the amount of hours that I put into YouTube and the amount of income that I got back out. The hourly, what that figure is way higher with YouTube last month than it was with the truck. So I didn't make more on YouTube than I did. I didn't match my income from the truck, but from that metric, from that key performance indicator, if I look at it, how much I'm making by the hour when I go out and drive the truck and how much I'm making by the hour when I put time into YouTube, like YouTube surpassed what I made in the truck last month. So that right there was a huge thing for me. Like I'm digging into stuff like that, man, because I know the possibility for me on YouTube, but I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes I need a little bit of a kick in the butt, right? Like I get up, Yasmin reminded me about this the other day. Like I get up every day, almost every day, religiously, without any help, without any alarm clock sometimes. And I get in that truck like it ain't no tomorrow. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, you know what I mean? How far could I take what I'm doing on YouTube if I was that serious about YouTube? Like I do YouTube when I can. I do YouTube when it's convenient, when I don't feel like doing it. Sometimes I don't do it, but I don't treat trucking that away. You know what I mean? But just kind of realizing that from last month, hey, you made more per hour doing YouTube last month than you did on the truck. It's just all the more reason for me to get more serious about YouTube. So like I came up with a strategy that I want to implement over the course of the next month that is essentially going to allow me to be able to get out more content consistently. It's going to let me be able to get out more content consistently without putting in more time. I mean, I got it mapped out to about 10 or 12 hours a month that I need to be, a week that I need to be putting into my YouTube channel to get it to get to be producing the amount of content that I want to. So this week was my first week of kind of following that strategy. And I did good. I recorded something every day, which is a part of that strategy. I uploaded 4 videos this week and I got a few videos left over to put into the editing process. Make a long story short, I came up with a plan this week to increase my performance, and I'm off to a good start. This first week I followed my plan to a T. So I feel good. Yeah, I feel real good about that. And like I said, I feel real good about what happened last month on YouTube. So yeah, man,
Congratulations.
ready to go.
Awesome.
100%. Yep.
Congratulations, congratulations. Definitely want to recognize, as recognition is one of the 4 foundational principles of S.E.A.R. Again, for those that don't know, let me reset the room really quickly. We are a S.E.A.R Mastermind group who are focused on helping creative entrepreneurs with support, encouragement, accountability, and recognition in their life and in their businesses. We have some entrepreneurs here with us tonight who are gonna have a conversation tonight. We're having a conversation tonight about value. So if you're following on Facebook, I see those that are joining in. Welcome, Danita. Happy to see you joining us. If you're following on YouTube, make sure you like, share, comment, let people know that you're in on this conversation. You know, what you're liking, what you're enjoying, what you're learning from what we're doing. And so let's get into the conversation tonight. Now, Majida, you got like a million questions in this conversation. But first, I started off with a story. So, it's my baby. Hey. All right. So this past week, last couple of weeks, actually, I've been having a lot. It's come up a few times about, what is the value of a high value man or individual, right? And it's come up just in a couple of personal conversations when I lunch with a few friends or having some conversations, and they talked about a few individuals out on the web who are having conversations with women or with men and talking about, what their perceived value is to the people around them. And, one name specifically came up that's, I don't want to use the word pariah because that might who's well known or who's gained some notoriety in the community about having these high value men and women conversations. Some of you may know.
I gotta look up that word pariah real quick.
some of you, that's a very opinionated point of view, but some of you all may know him as Kevin Samuels, who's not the originator of the term, but he's been able to capitalize on the idea of being a high value man or a high value woman and what that looks like as far as people living out their life. Now, he's an image consultant. So a lot of the conversations center around people's image of what it is or what it means to be a high value individual. So tonight I want to have that, or Maurice put forward, the question, and I want to hear from you all. What do you perceive? I really wanted to have an intelligent conversation about it. And after listening to some things the last couple of weeks, my views have actually changed.
Interesting.
I've been won over a little bit, so I want to get into that. And I like John's face because he's like, "What is happening right now? What's going?" So, what do you perceive? And I'm gonna share a little bit after that about what the market value looks like. But what would you perceive as a high value man? What are the criteria? Anything that comes to mind? Is it?
I got three, but they're kind of my own, right? Because you can go and look up high value man and hear this and watch 10 videos, and they're gonna kind of roll out the same stuff. So I kind of wanted to kind of put it in my own words, right?
Yes.
A high value individual. I'm gonna speak of a high value individual.
Yes.
I think the first thing is a high value individual takes really good care of themselves. I believe they have to, right? I look at high value, because when you hear about the subject, people talk about high value men, high value women, and most of the time it seems that conversation leads into relationships, right? But I'm already in a relationship, right? So I don't really see high value as far as in dealing with a relationship. I see high value, obviously, as in being an individual. And as an entrepreneur, I think about high value as it applies to business. I think that being that all of us probably define a high value individual different ways, I'm thinking about high value in terms that all of us probably can agree on, such as a high value property, So we know what determines what a high value property is, right? And that's kind of where I started at with take good care of themselves. A high value property is probably, one of the characteristics of a high value property is it's been well taken care of. Same thing with a truck. A truck that's been well taken care of. The guy was showing me the other day a picture of a truck, and the first thing I said is it looks like it was taken care of, right? That's one of the things that gives those objects value, being taken care of. And going back to the individual himself or herself, I would also say a second trait of a high value individual, I only got three, is they have confidence in themselves and their ability to independently exist, survive, thrive, accumulate, and have. So like if you're dependent or you're fearful, there's a such thing as people that have a lot, but they're fearful. Like, right, so like if I don't have anything, I don't have nothing to fear. But some people, as soon as they get something, now you're more fearful because you're afraid to lose it. So like just having doesn't give you high value, in my opinion. I don't care how much you have. It's dealing with that fear of not having. And most of the mentors that I've had in my life that I would categorize as high value, they had a high confidence in themselves and their ability to exist in this world. The salespeople that I hung around, they used to say, yo man, you drop me off with a Kirby anywhere in this country and I'm gonna find a way to make a living. Like that's all I need. I don't need nothing else. I make a living with my mouth. You know what I mean? So I would say that's the second value of a trait of a high value individual. And the third one I got jotted down applies more or less to entrepreneurship and business. Again, to me, high value is something that people want. Like if you look at a house or a business, the market is what determines the value, right? And high value is something that people want. So when it comes to business, like myself, just using me for an example, people will do business with me, but do people want to do business with me?
Yes.
Because that's what high value is. Like people want to do business with you. So, I can't say that I'm there yet, but I would say that high value individuals, that's one of the traits that they have. People literally want to do business with them. And I'm gonna shut up after this. I've taught my daughter, I used to talk to her about this all the time. I said, baby, listen, metaphorically speaking, whenever you borrow somebody's car, you should always bring it back in better condition than it was when you got it. And I'm speaking in metaphors here. It's like, if every time I loan you my car, you bring it back, it's less gas in it than it was when I gave it to you, or even it's the same amount of gas as it was when I gave it to you. I don't have any incentive to want to give it to you the next time you borrow it from me. But if every time you borrow my car, you bring it back in better condition than when you got it, hey, I might not have a ride. I'm going to still want to loan you my car because, when I gave it to you, it's on a half a tank. And I know when you bring it back, it's going to be on a full tank. The oil might be changed. It might be clean and all of that good stuff. So those are the type of things that I would say would attributes that would make people want to engage with you and want to do business with you. So I'll stop right there.
Oh yeah, and I definitely want to address the market value.
Yeah,
because I think that's a critical point. It's what the public perceives and establishes as valuable, and also I think points to what you want. We could go so many different directions in what people want, especially around that conversation around relationships. But John, I'd like to hear from you. Are you familiar with the term, the idea of high value? You're on mute. I want to make sure we hear you. You got to unmute for us.
It's been brought to my attention. I've heard clips of Kevin Samuels. I've been called it high value individual or man. I think this can be very broad in my opinion. When Maurice started talking, and I'm in a relationship too. I'm happily married 20 years. But I don't think it just has to do with going into relationships. I think that's what he was saying in reference to Samuels and how it ends up going into relationships. But if you think about it, even if I'm in a relationship, so I'm in a relationship with my wife, but I'm also in a relationship with you guys, right? So therefore, there should still be a level of value in that relationship, even though it's not a romantic relationship, right? In the scriptures, it talks about different types of love, right? So this is more of a phileo type of love, and the one I have with my wife is a little bit different. That's eros, right? So, well, actually, she's phileo too as well. Actually, she's agape. But when it comes to those types of things, I believe there's different values. Now, one of the things I believe when it comes to value, and that's a word that kind of gets thrown around sometimes. Uh, when the value is right, the cost doesn't matter. So when there's a person, a thing, or something, for example, and also that has to deal with markets. Certain types of people wouldn't pay for the watch that's on my arm, or certain types of sectors. I don't know how to say that one, right? Wouldn't pay for this, but some would, offer me money off while I'm out in Starbucks for it. That's the difference in people now, right? So perceived value is probably how we should say it.
Oh yeah,
right? Because it's all about perception.
it is.
Now, when I come to high value individuals, right now it depends on all kind of things. Now I'll agree with Maurice in reference to a high value individual of any sort would take care of themselves. I just
All right.
I think this is just my thought. I believe the way you take care of you will tell me how you will take care of other things. How you take care of your car, how you take care of your home, how you take care of your relationship. You know, some people didn't like. I would call my wife my trophy wife, right? Well, I play basketball, and I know what it's like to win a trophy, right? What do we do with trophies, especially if we're proud of them? We put them in high places. We shine them up. We keep them clean. Matter of fact, we take them into special rooms, and when people come over, we come show them the special trophy. That's my dadgum trophy wife then, right? Because I'm constantly showing her off. I'm constantly shining her up. I'm making sure she got everything she wants. So that's a value. So is this value, this high value thing, I look at it when it comes to, I think it's most important for me in relationships, right? I've worked a long time, long and hard in my entrepreneurial endeavors, but also in my spiritual endeavors to be just a person of value. Maurice made us all do this, right, with our hands. And this is the stuff we know, right? I understood a long time ago, there's a sector of the world that I know. Stay with me. There's a even bigger sector of the world that I know I don't know. So there's a sector that I know. There's a sector I know I don't know. But the biggest sector is the part that you don't know. You don't know. That thing's so big, right? So in that sense, I believe whatever gift God didn't give you, he placed in somebody near you. But love is the secret key to that treasure. How you going to get that treasure out of that other individual? Right? That's value. And everybody has value. I've actually heard, it wasn't Kevin Samuels, but somebody else, right? And I liked his point. Everybody has value, and that's why I said perceived value. Everybody has value. Everybody, right? And this is coming from a guy that probably 15 years ago I used to say out loud, some people are a waste of oxygen. I probably used to say that out loud, right? I've matured. That's not true. Everybody has value, right? The question is, can we find it? Even bigger, are they marketing it? Are they marketing it? So yeah, it's certain things I just believe in that you should have. I try to make sure that in the groups I'm in, that I have a level of value in that group. Otherwise, why am I even part of that group? I should be. Scripture talk about iron sharpening iron, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you can't help sharpen somebody, why are you even there? Because I think with any group we're involved in, we should be all getting better in the process. Nobody should be getting left behind. All of us should be getting better. And that's how I see the value. Now, am I a high value man? I guess, I don't know. Somebody called me it, and I had to actually pause because I didn't know if it was a compliment or right. So thank God I understand not to have knee jerk reactions. But And what was funny was it was said, this person said it, called me it, and then 3 people of the 8 people that was there all agreed. And I think the rest of them just didn't even know what it was either.
Well, that sounds like consensus to me that you definitely are perceived as such in the market. So I wanna shift gears a little bit because as you brought up, why relationships are valuable to you, and you often cite scripture. I'm gonna take it to the market. So Samuel says, in the market, these are 6 qualities. 6 qualities that divine high value. Now, again, this is coming from an image from something.
Yeah.
So,
I want to
and he
write it
gives
down,
some.
so go ahead, say it.
Oh, so the first one is money. He says it starts with money. I know you're a financial professional, and you made that face, but he said it starts with money. Someone who's earning 10K a month or more. That's where he starts.
Okay.
All right, let me finish the list. Length of time earning that amount or producing at that level, 5 years or more. 3 to 5 years. That's where he says starts.
So
Length of time, consistency, right? 3 to 5 years doing it, and then having a network, right? Not just being somebody who shows up with money, but somebody who shows up and can make things happen, has connections, right? A network that they can rely on to move
Okay.
and create an impact. And
I
then,
agree with number 3.
okay, this idea of acceptance. So not only being able to network, but being accepted almost like a fraternity into a community of other high value individuals. So acceptance is another, right? Recognition amongst those who are also performing at that level or living to that. And the fifth one is visibility. People got to know. He used a reference of LinkedIn. It's like, hey, I can go say you're a CEO of this bank or you got this title on this, right? People can easily identify and recognize what it is you do. And just like, Majida put up the running gag that we have, hey, Bakar, he's got, a million different hats that he wears, things that he call, right? Maybe that's not as easily recognizable to people, right? So that might not pass the visibility test. And just using myself as a reference.
Okay.
On the other hand, somebody who, like I said, maybe a CEO of Bank of America, right? They passed the LinkedIn test. Somebody can recognize immediately the value to an organization or the community, society, etc. And then the last one is utility, usefulness, right? That they're able to do things that maybe others can't. They're able to provide in a number of different ways, to be of service, to be of use to that community and those around them. All right. So when I first listened to that, when he said he start with money, he almost lost me. He almost lost me. It starts with money. All right. But then he talked about, man, this is what the market perceives. When we think about the market, we think about everyday people. Everyday people, their orientation to the word value or perceived value is, man, how much money you make. Why? Because that's what the majority of people are looking for, is how to solve their money problems so that they can actually go on to solve bigger problems. So would you agree that people of perceived higher value have solved money problems or are solving money problem and are able to move on to add value in other ways?
That's a question.
That's the question.
Was that for who? Was that for?
Oh, for the audience, for you.
I will say once you make a certain amount of money, and I'm going to use the 10,000 number, but that also depends on the world you live in. Because I know people who make I know people who make 20,000 a month, but they mismanage it. So therefore, they don't have much value anymore. I will say, once you have a handle on the money part, now you are allowed to be of more value in the other areas. But if you're stressed in finances, you have a hard time even thinking about the other stuff. But I want to back up too. Is the money part important? I think so, but probably differently. In this sense, I would say that the I don't like to say that it starts with money. And the reason I say that is, what if we were all just starting out? Like, I'm 50 years old. Dadgummit, I should be having some money now, right? But what if I was 20? What if I was 20? What if I was that 24-year-old kid that started that auto detail, 23-year-old kid that started that auto detailing company, right? By taking out a $68,000 loan from the SBA. What if I was him again? Does that mean I didn't have value?
Well,
I mean,
it's
just to be the type of person who would take the risk, to take that type of risk at 20 some years old. And I see kids doing even bigger than that now. There's risk, and in risk there's value. So I don't
yeah,
know
and
if I would
so
start. I don't know if I would
that's
start with
one of the
money.
things that he said though. That's one of the things he did say though. Just because you may not pass this criteria of high value doesn't
Okay,
mean that you don't have value.
good,
Right?
good.
It doesn't mean that you don't have
And I would
value.
say, I would go so far to say you can still be a high value individual. Think of a I know some guys who work out at my gym, and they're consistently, and they're in shows, and they're doing stuff like that, right? But as far as income, they don't make 10G a month yet, right? But are they on their way? Yeah, because there's some consistency involved in them chopping at that tree, right? But then
Hmm.
also they're constantly, I don't know if you know this, but in order to be in a gym every day, pushing that type of weight and those types of things, you also got to have some mental toughness. So one of the things I noticed, that every time I get on the stair climber next to one of these guys, they're asking me, what book am I reading? They're telling me about the book they're reading. Right?
Nice.
That's another level of value, because now you can grow. Now I'm concerned about guys who will tell me, well, I'm reading this book, and this book. If you're reading more than one, to me, I'm not sure if you're gonna apply any of it, right? But if you got one that you're working on, right? And I love one guy. Actually, I just found out he's actually in the Navy. He's from Chicago, but he's a bodybuilder, personal trainer. But right now he's in school because he's going for an officer program. Really sharp coat, from the same areas as me in Chicago, but he's 15 years my junior. We'll call it. Actually, no, let me take that back. 18 years my junior, right? And so him and I were talking. But one of the things that caught me when I was on the treadmill, the stair climber next to him this time, was he'd been working on this book for 2 months. He was digesting it. That's different. That's different than reading. He was studying. And it showed me he was a different caliber of guy. Right?
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
value. Right?
Oh
Now,
yeah.
I like networks. So you got me with number 3. Networks is my deal. I don't even try to know everything. I know what I know. I know who knows what I don't know, and that's all I need to know.
How about this one? I got a question.
And
Go for it,
oh,
Bakar. Go
I
ahead,
was
because
gonna say
I don't.
before you go on it,
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead. I
want to
don't
say
want to turn the corner
I
yet.
got 3 different groups of criteria. So that's just that's the surface level. That's what I call the surface. For those that are just jumping into the conversation on high value, this may be their orientation, right? This may be what they perceive as high value from what's happening in the conversation. And I'm gonna come back around to, is this something that's desirable? Is this something that you want, or that people in the market want to become or want to attract and acquire? If you're thinking in terms of relationships. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make one more statement, but I'm really curious to hearing what Majida has to say.
Yeah, me
Really
too.
curious. I want to hear what Maurice was getting ready to ask, but I definitely want to hear Majida's thoughts. But here, I'm gonna wrap my thing up. Here's my deal, right? Everybody wants a high value person in their life. Period. Let me tell you why. They're solid. You ain't got to worry about them going nowhere. They're loyal. Matter of fact, if they say they're gonna do something, they probably doing it. Right? You don't have to wonder things. Right? Everybody likes certainty. I think we would agree to that. Everybody likes certainty. Like, you want to be in a relationship. Like he was talking about relationships, right? You want to be in a relationship that you ain't gotta wonder if what they gonna do.
You want to know
You don't have
what
to
you
think
get.
about that. You know what you get. Matter of fact, and they're very upfront type of people, right? I know all the guys, and I'm gonna say one of my groups, 2 of my groups of men that I hang with are high value men. All of them make over 10G a month. That's easy. That's the easy part, right? All of them are consistent. All of them have networks inside of our network. All of them have recognition. Matter of fact, out of the except recognition, yeah, I'm probably the least visible. I'm just a private guy. I don't need the fanfare, right? But I'm one of the first people they call when they thinking about something. But I'm not the most visible. They're attorneys, and their LinkedIn say that type of stuff, and #1 DUI attorney in New York. I don't have all that, right? And then utility. Well, I'm in a service business, so I have all that. But all of those guys, they fall in it. But one of the things I know about them right now, I'm in my office in Virginia. If something happened right now, I could call any one of them. It's at least 18 of them. I can call any one of them. They'll come right here to my office right now, tonight. They'll answer, which is totally weird. Most people don't answer their phone. I don't answer my phone. Right? But if I saw one of their names, I would answer.
That passes the smell test.
Everybody wants a high value person in their life. And I'll say this one last thing. Every man needs one. Everybody wants one, but every man needs another man who's high value in their life for one word: accountability.
Woo!
How value men will hold your feet to the deck on fire. And they don't care.
Hey,
now we're nice about it, right?
My mama hold my feet to the fire.
I wouldn't ask Maurice certain questions in front of his wife because there's a mutual respect there, right? Man to man, right? Alpha to alpha, if you will, or lion to lion, however you want to say it, right? Because we're sharpening each other. And sometimes certain people shouldn't be around when sparks fly. Make sense?
Makes 100%. Sense. Oh man. So Majid, I would love to hear your feedback, and we're gonna pivot to how do you attract those high value. I love that point that everybody wants a high value person in life. I feel like that's what the conversation really is about. How do you attract high value people into your life, whether it's for relationship, whether it's for business, whether it's for gosh, what else is there? For networking, for I don't know, leisure and fun and fulfillment and adventure, right? How do you attract those high value people? Well, Majida, what is it that you perceive as valuable when it comes to those individuals, those men that stand out?
Sorry, before I actually want to hear Maurice first before I go, because he was ready to.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to turn the corner yet, and you know how I do sometimes. Sometimes I come up with something and it takes the conversation in another direction, right? But just kind of listen at what we talking about right now. I kind of wanted to give another perspective on high value, right? Okay. So I got a friend, right? So we know I heard on the TV today on a commercial that on average, a brand new car will lose up to 50% of its value within the first 3 years. I just heard that today on a commercial, right? I got a friend that bought a 2019. He bought a 2018 in 2019. He bought a 1-year-old car. Mm-hmm. Well, as y'all know, right now, new cars are not easy to find because of these chips that have not been getting manufactured and shipped or whatever, right? A couple of weeks ago, he took his... Yeah. New cars are difficult to find right now. And because of that, I'm hearing it's being reported that new car prices are up right now. Like car dealers are not even having to negotiate on new car prices because there's so much in demand right now. Here's the point of me sharing that story. My friend Zoe, just a couple of weeks ago, took his 2018 that he bought in 2019 and been driving since 2018, took it back to the dealership, sold it back to them, and walked out of the dealership with a check. Mm-hmm. The exact opposite of a car losing 50% of its value from day one, right? So that's one thing I'm thinking about as far as value. Like when I guess when the
market conditions change.
Market conditions change, right? So I guess what I'm saying is the demand, right? That can be passed down, Okay. So right now, as far as houses, my wife was just telling me a few minutes ago, she's like, just a few months ago, or a year ago or whatever, we looking at houses, we looking on Zillow, Redfin, or whatever. We seeing houses that have been on the market for 6 months, not 3 months, 9 months in some cases. She's telling me now, she's like, I'm seeing stuff getting snatched up in a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, right?
Absolutely.
So what people want in some cases, I guess I'm making the point that sometimes if the highest level of what you want is not available, then what's under that becomes more valuable. That's one point that I kind of want to bring out, talking about high value and respond as far as how the market perceives high value, right? And then the other thing I want to another way I want to go with that as well is, so to the individual that may not feel that they have all 6 of those prerequisites that Kevin Samuels lays out that a person has to be able to meet in order to be qualified or categorized as high value. And to me, that person is kind of like it's kind of like the scenario where you can't get the new car, so the used car becomes value. So like we just heard John say a few minutes ago, and I totally agree. Everyone has value. Everything has value to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So me and John could go look at the same house and it'd be the same price tag, and both of us be sitting on the same amount of money. And one house that we look at the same, it don't hold value to me, but it holds value to him. Right. So one man's trash could be another man's treasure. What is valuable to some people are not necessarily valuable to others. Right. And here's the last thing I want to say with that. And this is where I would like y'all to chime back in. Undervalued assets have value as well. Think about that one. Think about those words. Undervalued assets, like right now, Bakar, you talking last couple of weeks about investing in real estate. I hope you ain't looking to pay retail. I hope you're looking for undervalued properties. You get what I'm saying? So I guess I'm kind of saying that to address, if you are an individual that don't possess what you know what I mean? Like, you might not have those things that Kevin Samuel say you need, or you might not have some of the stuff that we saying we look for. One thing is, whatever you got is valuable to someone. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, even if you are in the situation where I'm kind of like going with John, right? Like, so if you are undervalued, the question is, who lowered your value? Who lowered your value? Is not quite like the piece of real estate where the real estate needs a manager. And if it ain't been managed, then, you know what I mean, it hasn't been taken care of. But with you, like, who lowered your value? So that's just something to think about, you know?
I think this is perfect because you talk about you brought up the conversation with a question about self-assessment. And every process, every property, in many ways, everything can be evaluated, assessed. What is the process they do? In real estate, appraisal. Yes. So assessment, appraisal, right? All similar words for establishing
value.
The value for something, right? So Majida, I'd love to hear your feedback. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about this conversation so far?
So to answer the first question that you brought up, like how you define high value, what first came to mind for me is high standards. Someone who sets high standards or seeks to set high standards for themselves and those around them. And to the point that John made about accountability, and just to be transparent, when I met John, this is 12 years ago, 13, something like that,
13.
13 years ago. He was probably the first person who challenged the way that I thought. And so when we're talking about value, if the lens that you're looking through isn't challenged, then your perception of what's of value or valuable can be distorted. And so I think it's important that you put yourself in environments where the way you see things can be challenged. Um, because that's where you can increase your value, right? When Maurice asked the question, like who lowered your value, I think we can often get stuck in this identity, right? If we're going to talk about high value identity, we can get stuck in this identity that like this is all there is, like this is who I'm supposed to be, because we don't know anything different. And so I've always enjoyed being in environments, what I call them like hot environments, where like I'm uncomfortable and it causes me to like feel like, all right, like there's somewhere for me to grow. You know, like it not only gives you hope, but it also gives you something to aspire to. It can inspire you to become more than you've been. And so when as we're moving to the conversation about self-assessment, I think people who may have a problem with Kevin Samuels or other people who want to place value on they're uncomfortable with their reality being challenged. Because if you're comfortable with where you are, you're not something that John used to say all the time, right? If you're offended, that's your problem, right? Like if I say something that you don't like, it's probably because it's the truth and it's not what you want to hear. And so there's value in your reality being challenged because you can't grow inside your comfort zone. So I like the
Mm.
idea of looking at it from the perspective of, all right, whoever defines whatever, what can I learn from what they're saying? Versus saying, oh, what they're saying is trash and they're demeaning people and they're, making people feel a certain type of way. What can you learn from them? Obviously, they know something that you don't know. So what can you learn from them? You don't have to become them, and your value doesn't have to be based on the same values that they have. But you can increase your value. You can add value to the marketplace. You can be more of a resource to other people than what you're currently doing. But if you're complaining and justifying and blaming other people for why you are where you are, then you're never going to increase your value and you won't be of value to other people in that state.
I love it. I love it. I love it, man. That's a great point that you bring up
Hey,
as
I
well.
think I have. Majida said, when your thought process, right, or the way you view things is challenged, right, your viewpoint, your perspective is challenged, you can grow. Okay. I also believe when it comes to value, when your thought process, your perception of things is challenged, you can assess. In order to grow, you got to kind of assess where you are first.
Absolutely.
You if I want to put on 10 pounds of muscle, right? Don't I need to know where I am right now first, right? And sometimes we live in a world, unfortunately, and this has been happening for at least the last quarter of a decade, quarter of a century, is we now have a world that caters to what we already believe.
Huh. Echo chamber.
We live in an echo
If
chamber.
if
Yeah.
you if you were to let's say you like a certain thing, right? Your life's algorithm is going to put all of that in your face, and you're never ever challenged with something opposite. And that's why I used to tell people all the time, whatever you look for, you'll find. If you look for the negative in a situation or something, you will find it. If you even when it comes to you looking up on Yelp or the reviews of some product you get ready to buy on Amazon, if your algorithm is always looking for the negative ones, it pops the negative ones up first to feed you
agree.
what you want. So it's a bunch of people walking around here. We are our society right now, especially in the United States, are the most misinformed people ever to walk the planet.
And very entrenched in those beliefs that keep getting reinforced inside of that echo chamber. I would totally agree.
When really, I get excited when somebody challenges my thinking. Now, and what I love about that is one, and this started happening to me about 19 years ago, maybe even 20, because I met a specific person, and I sat long enough to listen, even though I knew I wasn't going to be down with it. I sat long enough, and there was little parts in the this is months of conversations. right? But it was little parts in there that totally changed my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't change my perspective over the whole thing, but it helped me see a different perspective in parts of it. And I found great joy in that, because now when you have your perspective challenged, and then you stay on topic, now you're solid. If the foundation has never been challenged, it might not be that strong. So I love that Makita talked about in order for you to grow, and we're talking about people's value, and everybody has value, right? But one last thing when it comes to the high value, your perception is also tied to your vision. If you don't have much of a vision, somebody could walk into your group and they have value. But if your vision is off, you can't see their value.
100%.
And you miss out.
100%.
Just some thoughts.
100%.
Vision is important.
I would wholeheartedly agree.
I think Yasmin wants to come in, but she's a little she want to say
preoccupied?
something. No, she's not occupied. She's scared.
I would love to hear her thoughts. I would love to hear her thoughts.
We would chime in.
You know what, man? I'm gonna say something real quick before she chimes in. When I thought about the subject of assets being undervalued, like, I hope she don't mind me saying this. I feel like my wife was an undervalued asset. I totally do. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's where I get it from. Like, she has value, though. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just wanted to say that. I just want to throw that out there.
You were the only one that had vision.
Maybe based on what you just now said. Maybe 100%. 100%.
I can chime in on that one.
I would have put them together 20 years ago if you left it up to me, but
nah, I'd have been in jail 20 years ago.
When they say 16 was the age of consent, she was just old enough.
My young wife.
Maurice, if you would mute yourself so we can hear her.
100%.
The
echo. I'm sorry, you called me off guard.
She is a giggly one.
I am.
Talk to us.
I am. I can't.
So let us hear.
Well, you know, I think I'm a comment on what John said. When you're probably right. He's the only one that had vision, and for me, that was probably the most valuable thing for me. Like, what I looked for, someone a high value person, because I had no problem getting along with people, or all right, let me see where you're going. But he actually had a vision and the plan, and he attacked it head on. So for me, it was easy enough to follow, I was like, all right, where we going with this? Because in my mind, I had an idea of something. He kind of matched my vision, or where I think I wanted to go, and it's taken to a different level. For me, it also allowed me to grow. Speaking of being an undervalued asset, I guess I've always seen myself as an undervalued, or I have value, and I just never saw that value till other people started seeking me out. Like I mentioned, the client had a day helping him with his bookkeeping. I was working at Waffle House, and he just couldn't understand why I was working there, and the conversation we had was just not the person he would normally see there or talk to. So it opened up another door for me, and being with my husband has allowed me also to see more value in myself, because I didn't picture us together. I mean, he was a catch. I thought everybody wanted him, but he wanted me. So
ain't no thought about it. Everybody did want me.
Well, see?
That's my brother.
See,
But
That's my brother.
he wanted you, so that means you had value.
To him,
John said it earlier.
I think that's something interesting. And I mean, I'm a Yasmin. I think you're someone. I really feel like people around you could see your value at times more than you could. So I think that does kind of align with Maurice said as far as like undervalued. I mean, you were what co-valedictorian of your class, and that might not have been a big deal to you, but at everybody around you, you one of the smartest people around, right? And that's one accolade, years ago. But just being your spiritual acumen and your attention to detail, working with children. Yes, I think you're one of the hardest workers in our whole family, right? But maybe those weren't things that were celebrated enough around you. And this is what we get into, what does the market value? Because there may be assets, in individuals like her who can do so much, but nobody around her with enough vision to show it or share it to them, right?
An excellent point.
Right. And I think there are a lot of people who are disillusioned about maybe what their own perceived value is, that they're on the opposite end. They don't see how much the market doesn't value some of the decisions and things that they've done. And that's why they're challenged with this I don't want to use too big a word, but double-mindedness, right? That they have one idea of themselves that the market isn't supporting. The market isn't buying. It was like, oh yeah, I got this, and that. I want, and I deserve, I should have. And I hate using the word should because it assumes a whole lot of things that maybe you weren't digging into. But people wonder, man, why did this person over here attract a high value individual when, in your mind, they don't have all of the things that you see as valuable, right? Or maybe you overvalue yourself, right? So that's the other side of it. People who overvalue themselves, expecting higher results, higher rewards, higher, recognition than what the market is valuing, right?
You got a high value on your house and nobody's buying it, and you still talking about this what my house is worth. Okay, let it sit on the market then.
So I think that's where a lot of these conversations have shifted. People who may be perceived, who overvalue themselves, right? You're right. On one side, there's undervaluing. Right there in the middle, I think is fair market value, is objective reality, and what people are actually buying. And then there's those who may overvalue, right? Who may perceive themselves maybe in quality or in character or in other ways as high value, but upon further inspection, the market's not buying. So what leads to that? What leads to the market not buying? What are some of those qualities and characteristics? And I'm gonna add one of these habit lists. I'm gonna add one of the lists that I kind of went through.
I got one right off the top of my head. I got one. You charging too much. The price too high. I don't know no other way to put that.
That's again still based on perceived value. Somebody sees the value in it, they're willing to pay it, right? Especially if it's not something that they have readily have access to. But I'm gonna list off a couple of different qualities, and I want you to think about maybe what are the counters. The counter. So like emotional intelligence, active versus passive, right? Has strong values for themselves. Right. So the opposite may be, low emotional intelligence or, very passive, not able to make smart decisions or make decisions. They undervalue themselves, right? Or overvalue themselves. Lack self-confidence, doesn't have leadership qualities, don't take care of themselves. They may not live, in an orderly or classy way. They have, ill-tempered, not well-mannered, right? And I'm giving counters to what some of the qualities of high-value individuals. They don't spend their life learning. They stay stuck where they are, right? They don't keep learning. They don't follow through, right? They don't have a passion about anything other than maybe their relationship, right? Finding a man or finding a woman, or don't take responsibility for themselves, afraid to commit, feels entitled, right? Maybe some of the qualities that could lead to people overvaluing themselves that, again, upon further assessment or inspection, the market says, that doesn't pass the sniff test. That's not high value. But what are some other things you think may lead to people overvaluing themselves when it comes to attracting or even being that high value individual?
Environment.
Ooh, go deeper. Yes, say more.
Yeah. If you hang around people who are always telling you how good you are, how great you are, and but those are the only people who see that greatness, you actually start believing that you start buying your own press.
You start
Even
believing
though
that
you haven't
BS.
done anything. Even you haven't done anything. Like it's a lot of people walking around that they think they're owed this certain level of respect, but you haven't done anything. Like why would we respect you? Don't get me
Like a
wrong.
cheeseburger in a
Even
homeless camp.
scriptures, scriptures say I'm supposed to honor all, right? But it as entrepreneurs, and I know it's quite a few entrepreneurs on this thing right now, right? It's funny to me how I notice people who are not entrepreneurs have these phrases that they think is just cool to say, like that's not in my job description or that's beneath me. When entrepreneurs don't think like that at all. What do you mean that's beneath? Anytime somebody who works for me, the day they say that's not in my job description, that's no longer their job. They fired that day. That's their last day.
100%.
For sure.
100%.
Because if I can still vacuum the floor, if I can still clean the glass up here at this office, everybody can. Now you can might be able to back something in the way I ask you to do it, right? But here's another thing about entrepreneur. A lot of times we don't want to ask you to do it. We want you to take initiative. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of people walking around who don't even take initiative, yet they think they have value.
Great point.
Oh,
great point.
In my marriage, my marriage is stronger than it's ever been because I take initiative. I figured out what not my wife's love languages, her emotional needs. Those are two totally different things. And I committed them to memory. My wife ain't committed mine to memory, but I committed hers to memory. Why? Because I want to make sure I'm on my game. Now, me and her are totally different in certain senses, right? But she has strengths I don't have. So she's on it in her world. I'm on it in mine. And we're both high value. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We both high value, right? Here's another reason people probably overvalue themselves, right? They have nobody outside of their bottle reading a label to them.
Ooh, say that again. Say that again, because somebody missed that. Somebody missed that. By the way,
they have nobody outside of. Okay, on a label. I don't have. Okay, I got these pumpkin seeds, right? I got these pumpkin seeds, right? These pumpkin seeds don't know what the labels say about what's in them. Good and bad. Good and bad. But if you got nobody telling you about the preservatives, right? Some of us ain't non-GMO. You understand?
100%.
And we need somebody, a trusted advisor, somebody you trust, somebody who you know loves you, right? To read your label to you. That's also another reason why Yasmin didn't know. She didn't have the right people. She had people, but she thought y'all was just fluffing her up. Y'all used to tell her about her qualities and how good she is at this, and she was like, that's my sister, she's supposed to do that. That's my brother, he's supposed to do that. She didn't have a trusted advisor outside of y'all to tell her, girl, look at the greatness in you. Oh my God, do you see? Look how much percentage it is of you in this one. Oh my God, right? She also still needed people to tell her, okay, we probably need to get rid of this preservative. This gonna kill people, right? Stuff like that. But that's why. So the same reason why people are overvaluing themselves, that's the same reason people undervalue themselves. They ain't got nobody on the outside of their bottle reading their label to them.
That's huge. I
It's
love
one of the
that.
reasons why
I
we
love that.
started this mastermind, man. We didn't word it like that, but that is absolutely 100% one of the reasons why we started this mastermind. Because we wanted to, we all knew that we wasn't able to read our own label, and we wanted somebody
Oh
around us
man.
trusted that would help us assess what's on our own label. So 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. You all said that so well, so well. And now I see why Kevin Samuels is making a living reading the labels. I don't know about the trusted and love part, but it makes total sense now what the function is. I said I think I can get into that industry. You just need somebody to read the label. Come here. Come here. I read good. I read real good.
A lot of people would want that. Yo, please tell me what's in my label. You
Yeah.
probably would have a line, bro.
What's
Oh no, we will.
when
We will. It's
when
coming.
it's just good to have them trusted. It's
100%.
That's a great part to have because like the men in my life, right? Carlton McLeod, Derek Collier. I know these guys love me, and they have no benefit of how well or how bad I do in my life. I know it. I don't wonder if they love me. I know they love me, right? But they love me so much they wouldn't leave me the way I am. So they tell me my blind spots too. When I'm slipping, when I'm tripping, when I'm acting funny, when I right, and they were willing to risk my affection to help me succeed. Now that's a great call. I have that. That's awesome. I love that, and now I have the privilege of being that for other people. It's a great privilege, right? And you don't want to screw over a privilege like that. But I'm the type of guy that even if you didn't love me, I could still receive it. And most people in our world today couldn't. They just couldn't. They couldn't take it if a guy just said, because they just, what's the number one phrase you hear people say? Oh, they just hating.
Maybe they trying to give you some
Maybe you need to
feedback.
assess the hate. Assess the hate.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some validity to that hate.
That sounds very similar to what Margita was saying earlier. Like be willing to listen to the feedback. It sounds like that's kind of what you were saying earlier, Margita, in a nutshell. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, look for the lesson, right? We've heard the phrase "seek and ye shall find," right? If I'm listening to something or something comes across my path, like look for the message in it that resonates with you or that questions the way that you think. Like find something in it to learn from, to grow from. But like John said, like most people, this the way I think, this the way my mama thought, this the way I'm supposed to think. Like they not getting outside of their blinders and not getting outside of their comfort zone. And so anything you say to them, like they can't, they're not ready to receive the message. So, John said this earlier this week when we had our show, is that most people can't accept what you tell them because it's not part of their reality. Like it's outside of the way that they've seen things for so long. And that's really what attracted me, kind of back to your question, Bakar. How do you attract a high value person? When you find one, you add value to them. Like that to me is like when I met John, it was like it blew my mind some of the things that he would share with me and how direct he was. He ain't know me from Adam, but was willing to say certain things that my mama probably wouldn't say, my siblings probably wouldn't say to me, And it was like it was weird, but it was like, huh. And never thought about that before, right? Like, I remember when I was just starting out in the personal development journey, y'all know I gotta bring him up, my man Jim Rohn, right? When I was listening to him and I listened to the way he talked about his mentor, right? And how his mentor would share concepts with him. And it was just like, never thought about it that way. And just something that simple to assess what somebody says to you and say, you know what, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. This is not all they pay me, right? But this is all they pay me, right? But this is not all they pay. They pay people in the company more than they pay me because those people add more value. So how can I add more value? How can we went to Philadelphia last month. I met up with a client up there, but we went to this restaurant, and I tell you, the man who cleaned those tables with a certain level of excellence, that like he cleaning tables, but he did it in such a good spirit. He's singing while he cleaning the tables, and you might look at him like he's just cleaning tables, but he did it with such joy, and would look around, make sure that as the table was finishing up, y'all done. He clean up the table. He get your little condiments for you, set them on the table, make sure y'all get that clean, and just did it with such a passion. It seemed like that was value, right? Like there's a reason why he's working there. Now, I don't know all his circumstances, but he did it, right? I think Martin Luther King said it. You a street sweeper, right? You sweep streets with a certain level of excellence, with a certain level of passion, or not a passion, but um, do it in a way that people will say that you were the best street sweeper there was. And most people
That's
don't
right.
give that level of effort to what they do. They do just enough, right? So they don't get fired, and they get paid just enough so that they don't quit, And it's this whole dichotomy of always people looking for more money and they want raises. I promise you, I haven't had to ask for a raise in 15 years. When I want to make more money, I can create the income myself, or I add more value, and the raises come on their own, or the bonuses come on it, right? Because I'm adding value. I'm saving the company money, or I'm adding value. I'm helping the family, right? I'm doing something to serve other people. So it's easy to do, but if your perception is this is all I can do, right? This is my job. This is all they pay me. I ain't doing all of that for this little bit of money. That's why you making that little bit of money.
That has always been a thing. I'm like, I've dealt with that. Like, man, how do I do a job that I hate doing with love and passion, and they ain't paying me nothing? It's like, how do I do that?
I feel triggered. I used to work with Majida at an Auburn Pan back when we were in college, and I remember it didn't take long for both of us to get promoted to supervisor position, and they were both inviting us to be like managers, right? You didn't get the manager talk, or like there was like student supervisor, and then like just because of how we led on. And I'll be honest, like I kept turning them down. It was like, oh man, I realized I didn't want to do more for that job than what that position I was, because like where I was with that position was all I was willing to give to that. Like, and be authentic to me. So that was the other piece, and be authentic to me. It's like, yeah, I know I can lead other people. Other people listen to me, right? I can run a shift. Like I can do all of this, but I don't want the responsibility of running this job and that become my life. Like, because for me, that's a bad habit. That was just a bad habit. It was a temporary position. I'm not going to move toward permanent into a permanent position if that's where I'm not looking to be permanently.
So the best thing for a person like you to do is just quit and start your own business.
Yeah,
because you ain't doing them no good anyway by being there and not serving. And I'm with you on that one, bro.
This is where you find me today. It took me way too long to figure that out. Way too long to figure that out. And one of the things was the same thing, not having the right people around me to read my label, to be able to help me see better what my value was. Right. It took me going into grad school and going through these other, institutions to be able to find, okay, great. I'm great at teaching, and, I work well with people, and I can inspire and encourage and motivate them. Right. But there were no coaches in college. Go figure. There's nobody coaching and consulting in college. Right. Oh, okay. Maybe they have, student, but there was no major. They weren't promoting that major in college. Like, yo, wait, I could just hang around here and coach other students. Well, some of those are teachers, but there was nobody showing. There was nobody around me, right? So you say environment. And then getting out into the world, getting away from, the academic environment, getting into entrepreneurship, meeting people like John through Majida, seeing what Maurice had been doing years and, being away. And then finally immersing myself, when a job finally kicked me out of the environment, man, I celebrated that day. I said, I'm not going back. I'm not going back into a space where I know I could add more value than they're even asking for.
That's good.
100%.
So, just gonna reset. Hey, for those that have been watching, hey, thank you for tuning in and for sharing. We're not ending the call, but we definitely appreciate you rocking with us. We are live here on YouTube, on Facebook, every other Friday. This is the S.E.A.R Mastermind group with our S.E.A.R Mastermind show. We call it a podcast, but we're not on the podcast yet. We haven't even put it out there like that. With myself, Bakar, Majida, Maurice, is three founders of the S.E.A.R Mastermind Group with our guests, Yasmin Bey and Mr. John Epting Jr., not senior. Senior's his father. Having a conversation about high value. So we talked about environment initiative. Nobody outside reading themselves. So John, I want to bring this question to you and then to the floor. What can we do? I want to give the community, the audience, some action steps, right? What can we do to help them to either attract more high value people to them or to become that high value individual? What can they start to do today?
And let me just say one thing. Don't help them, help me. I'm sitting right here, bro.
All right, well, help us. Help us help them.
This is gonna sound a little weird. So, and then I'll segue into it, right? One of the things I coach young men who are single and they're looking for their spouse or not, right? And some of them like to tell me they're in love, right? And a lot of times they're just in lust. And I tell them, what's the difference? Love is looking for how you can give. Lust is looking for what you can get. If you're looking at what you get, you're not going to attract a high value person. But if you're looking for what you can give, a high value person, let's go back to Majida's guy who's cleaning the table, right? I might not have an opportunity for him at the moment, but I will create an opportunity for him because of his attitude in moving and cleaning a table. So what are you willing, because we did touch on, man, I'm not willing to do that for this particular situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And because you got listeners, you got people watching this who are employees, right? When I was in the Navy, I gave it my all. Now, I gave it my all for many different reasons. One, I was raised by Dorothy and John Epting, and I'm kind of still scared of them. So, and that's
fair.
how
That's
they raised
fair.
us, and I'm still gonna do that, right? So even when I was in the United States Navy, I gave it my all. My first 2 years sucked. I hung off a side of a ship. I swept water. Do you understand what I just said? I swept water. Some of y'all will get that on your way home. What? Like, why was I, right? But I knew I need to give it my all. And what I found out was by the time I was giving it my all, the higher ups saw that. And they were, and one, they left me alone. So in other words, if you're a lazy person, they mess with you.
Makes sense.
But when you're a good worker, they really leave you alone. They do give you more work, but they leave you alone, right? They leave you alone, and then they want to give you accolades and stuff like that, right? So I just gave it my all, even though I hated the daggum job. And it positioned me. So what am I saying to the people who want to attract high value people? Position yourself. Be of service. Be somebody who can't go get that from nobody else. Matter of fact, force your way into some group. We have some guys who forced their way, and at the time when they forced their way, I guess you could say they weren't a high value person. Now, here's the funny thing about a high value group of guys and ladies: they're constantly growing their value. Nobody's stagnant. Actually, you can't be. Everybody will stop calling you. They'll stop telling you when we meeting at the brewery. I'm not lying. This is actually, I got a person in my mind who you could tell he was going through some stuff. He's going through a divorce, but you could tell he stopped adding value. And all of a sudden, we don't invite him to the brewery no more. We don't invite him when we meeting up at so and so. We just don't.
So it is like a fraternity. No,
I'm not in charge of making the phone calls though. So in all fairness,
can't bring the room down.
Nobody calls him no more. It's like if somebody calls so and so and they're like, "Nah, he's going through." When really the group is what he needs to get back on track. Add value. That's all I can say. Position yourself. Actually, life is about positioning. Life is about positioning. Position yourself. First of all, you're not gonna find any high value groups until you find a high value individual.
Yeah, they're gatekeepers.
And then you befriend them. Be happy to be around them. Absorb when you're around them, and then they will open up their group. I don't know why people think. I'm gonna say this word. I don't know why people think rich people don't want to share what they know. They want to share. Matter of fact, some of the stuff they've achieved, they're shocked it worked. So they want to tell somebody. Let me tell you what they don't do. They do not give unsolicited advice. They're too respectful. I notice broke people give you a bunch of unsolicited advice. Ain't nobody even ask you. But wealthy people, high value people, normally don't give unsolicited advice. If you ain't ask them, they ain't really saying nothing unless you're close to them. If you're close to them, then they're trying to give you insight, right? Because they're reading your bottle.
Majida.
What's up?
Come on, give me some feedback on that. On how do you add value? I'm sorry, not add value. How do you attract high value, become high value? And don't just say what John and Jim Rome say, all right? I want to hear Majita's thoughts.
Hey, I believe in not reinventing the wheel. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if it works, apply it. I think he pretty much said it. You add value. You like to say, you fill the gaps, right? You find the gaps and you fill the gaps. I don't think it's that difficult, right? You attract it by, like I said earlier, putting yourself in uncomfortable environments. Like if you're in an environment where you're challenged, where you're held accountable, you're either going to leave the group or you're going to grow up, right? Like you really got one or two options.
Yeah.
And I'm just one of those people, just to speak personally, like I don't like staying stuck. I don't like staying stagnant. So I seek out the environments that will challenge me to get to another level. I get around the people who are doing the things that I see myself doing, but I know that I have to become somebody more. So I need to get around those people to figure out what is it that they're doing that's allowing them to achieve at a certain level. Right? It wasn't until probably a few years ago that I stopped hitting the snooze button. Like at 35 years old, I'm still rolling out of bed, just barely, and I'm thinking I done all right, because if I listen to the environment and the people who were closest to me, girl, you doing all right. You got you a degree. You got a good job. You making good money. Compared to who, right? Like it's not even compared to other people, compared to my best self, right? Compared to
Mm.
my capacity, right? I'm not doing, I can get up earlier, right? I've gone from getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? And understanding like, man, how much more time am I giving myself? How much more life am I able to live?
Mhm.
How much more I can become because I just changed little things, right? I'm still working on some things, right? But I'm changing little things. I'm tweaking little things. I'm improving my health, right? I'm drinking more water. I'm improving my nutrition, right? Eating more fruits and veggies and things like that. And I've been a vegetarian my whole life. But like I'm now eating like intentionally more fruits and veggies, right? Because I was one of those snacking vegetarians. I still am working on that too. But it's awareness, right? As I've become aware and as I've gotten around and listened to people who are living life at a different level, who are living life on their terms, right? They're designing their life, not accepting their life. I realize they do things differently. And I can't expect to get different results doing the things that I've been doing. And I think most people, kind of back to your point, they're disillusioned, right? Like they expect a different outcome, but they don't want to do anything different. They don't want to change, right? They want things to change, but they don't want to change. And
Yeah.
I'm not that person who's um, dishonest with myself about where I am. I think sometimes you have to be really, you have to take a hard look in the mirror. You have to be able to self assess. And in addition to other people being able to read your bottle, you need to be able to read your own bottle. You need to be able to see, right, what what you made of. You need to know your ingredients, and that
Mhm.
takes some work. It doesn't happen overnight, but it takes some work. And I think too often we expect what we're not willing to work for. We
Ooh.
I said it. I posted something I think yesterday that we should never expect of other people what they one don't expect of themselves, and two what we don't expect of ourselves. And those are things that I've learned being in different environments. You don't have one the moral authority to challenge anybody if you don't do what you expect of other people. And um, when it comes to expectations of other people, unmet expectations lead to disappointment. If you don't want to be disappointed, don't have unrealistic expectations of other people, right? If you, I can't expect my children to do things that they don't see me do, right? I can't expect my daughter to practice hard and exercise, right? Like she training me now, right? My 7-year old is like, "Let mommy, let's exercise," right? Because I realize, like, she go to practice 3 days a week, 3 hours per day, getting it in, getting stronger. How often does she see mommy exercise? But I'm gonna push her to be the best she could be, and I'm not being the best I can be. Like I just don't believe in being a hypocrite. So maybe I haven't developed the habits that she's learning at 7 years old, but
Mm.
I can implement those things. I can get better because if I'm gonna require it of her, I gotta expect it of myself first. So just be honest with yourself. I mean, that's I think a starting point. Be honest with yourself. Be willing to accept constructive criticism, but as we've learned, right, don't accept constructive criticism from somebody who's never built anything. So make sure
Sheesh.
a trusted advisor, somebody, right? You can't teach me what you don't know. So having somebody who's further down the path, who's doing the things that you would like to do, or who can show you, right? I'm not going to ask somebody who's overweight to train me. I'm just not. I'm going to ask Rochelle T. Parks, the health motivator, who's 50 and cut. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just makes sense. They got the results that I'm looking for, so I'm gonna seek that person out.
That's
I'm
actually
not
one of the
Mhm.
traits of high value people. They seek out the experts in those fields, right?
absolutely.
One of those principles from Rich Man. No, 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 not Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm thinking about Babylon, the richest man in Babylon.
Richest
Yeah,
man in Babylon. Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I need to pick that book back up. I don't feel like I got all of the lessons from that. Gonna add that,
Well,
Erica. Make a note to put that on our reading list.
It's one of those books that you study for 6 months, a year, 100%.
Yeah, we're doing some. We didn't turn our accountability group into a reading club. We're going through a book this week. Welcome, Erica. Thanks for joining in. I saw you on the call tonight. Shout out to you. No, that's great. That's great feedback. I knew you were going to add some value to that part of the conversation. Don't expect what you're not willing to do for yourself. Man, a lot of people are disillusioned. So John says, man, you got to change your environment. You got to change your environment and position yourself to be of service to others. I love it. My Jesus said, man, don't expect of others which you don't do for yourself, which you haven't built. Maurice, what say you to add value? We were speaking to you, right? That's what you said. We would. How do we make Maurice a high value man?
You know, man, just I mean, I see practical stuff. I see, you know, the vision thing being a big piece, like being able to see what others don't see in opportunities, in situations, and in people specifically, because that's what we're talking about, attracting people. You know what I mean? Like look for what others don't necessarily see in themselves. People will want you to come around because every time you come around, you help them see a side of themselves that they don't see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Practical things to be more attractive, man. Dot your I's and cross your T's. Like if you're a young brother or a young whoever, pull your pants up. You know what I mean? Stand up straight, talk properly. You know what I'm saying? To speak the right way, right? You don't want to be using slang trying to conduct business deals, right?
Can we say speak fluently?
Speak fluently. There you go. Speak fluently. Respect people. Have a pleasing personality. Like, to me, these are some of the basic ingredients of being attractive to other people. And there's probably a whole lot more as well. But I'm just thinking about things that I think that I do well. Like, I'm welcome. People, when I walk in the store, up the street, the convenience store, it's like, hey, Mo. And it's because Mo always comes in with a great attitude. I ain't coming in looking thugged out. I'm coming in respectfully. You know what I mean? It's like, it's attractive. It's attractive. I remember having a conversation with Mensa before regarding being attractive to the opposite sex. And me and him was talking about how, and this was a while ago. This is probably 5, maybe 8, 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But we was both laughing about how it's so easy to attract women. All you got to do as a man is be able to spell the. Like, that's all you got to be able to do is just spell the. You know what I'm saying? Like, my cousin up the street, she's like, she just wants somebody just to be able to cover the basics. You know what I mean? So I just cross your I's and dot your T's, man. You know what I mean?
We have done a masterful job of fooling women about our value and getting them to lower their standards. And this is something I feel like I've carried with me my whole life as a man, like this perceived value that women have to settle for much less than what they deserve. Or a lower standard in quality, man. That is definitely something that I take personally. I don't take much personally, but I take that personally. When I hear women, oh man, I mean, he could read. What? You know,
like, wow.
What was the older adage? If he, you know, he has children, never been to jail, or what's the other one? Like, don't have children, never been to jail, or he not married currently. Like, if you like actually single, not in a relationship. Like, if he gets 2 of the 3, he's a cat. That's a catch.
Yeah.
Not married, never been to jail, has no children. That's the standard. So I can see why people are having a high value conversation. Like, we got to raise our standards, right?
Absolutely.
We gotta okay. Well, we hear I want a such and such, but your standard has been so. Like, there's a lot of work between those 3 qualities and things that we talked about tonight. When y'all agree, like there's a gap, a chasm. I'm gonna use a chasm. There's a Grand Canyon between, you know, He ain't got no kids, and he married, but he loved me. Wait, what? He ain't never been to jail, but he got a whole wife, and you're satisfied with that because he take care of you, or he got money. He got money, and he can put it down, or he go like I just there's so much stuff that I've heard that people have settled for, right? But they say they want high value, yet like your actions have shown, and I don't want to get into people too much because we do the same thing on the other side as men. Oh yeah, we'll just run through the people who aren't smart enough at a young age, and then when we get older, then we want somebody who can actually grow with us, right? Like, but there's no
Hey,
accountability there.
I'm a guest, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not coming back on. I'm not coming back no time soon, right?
Oh, good. Say it.
He about to say something. He about to say something.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all hung up. This is the money shot right here.
So we were talking about high value individuals, right? High value people. Okay. In order to attract a high value person, you got to be one. Okay. So in other words, what you just told me is, it's a lot of people out here looking for a dime and they a nickel.
Or a penny.
Pretty much. And Majida said it perfectly. These people are holding people to a standard they don't hold themselves to. What you gonna do with a dime if you 4 cents? Like, what you gonna do with it? You gonna lose 6 cents. I mean,
okay.
There it is.
You're not even ready to. Yeah. You have to prepare yourself.
And mind you, I guess I'm a high value individual because I'd be shocked sometime of what approaches me. Now I'm almost 50 years old. I'd be 50 years old in October, and I take care of myself, Maurice. I dress well, make sure I smell good, right? Now
I can smell you. I can smell you through the internet, bro.
I was about to say if Yabby didn't have him, he could get it, right?
I'm married to a high value, so I gotta stay up. Right?
If Yabby didn't have him, he know he'd still get it.
But no. This sometimes I don't know if it's confidence or audacity. Some of the women that come on to me, like it's like you got a bag on your head and you in house shoes and Wawa, like, and I'm dressed like this. Like, is that confidence? Because if that's confidence, I need some of that. You got the audacity. Like, seriously, like I don't. And if
that kind of confidence,
I need some of that. Like, if it's confidence, I believe I'm leaning more toward audacity. Like, you have the audacity, right? But if it's confidence, I just want a quarter of it. Y'all think I'm doing it now? If I had this woman's confidence,
sir, I 100% understand that sentiment.
And I ain't 100%. I ain't no dime. I'm a good 6 cent. I'm a nickel and a penny. I know that. My wife probably an 8 cent.
Wow.
And I be having, I don't know.
Be having that rate that the bank give you on your savings account. Ain't trying to holler.
But that's the world we live in. We have people walking around believing that they deserve more than they.
It's called entitlement.
There's no.
And just to be clear, right? Like that. We're not speaking about like your intrinsic value as a human being, but like you don't deserve what you haven't worked for. You don't deserve what you haven't earned. And to think that like Marie said, that you're entitled to something more because that's just what you want, like, is delusional. And that's the part where people overvalue themselves. And to the people who undervalue themselves, I say to them, because I've met with different clients, young women who are holding it down, right? Like they work in round the clock or a couple jobs, and then like you accept somebody who's not matching. I don't want to say matching your hustle, but they're not making equal sacrifice,
Ooh.
right? Because Eric Thomas talks about it. It may not be equal giving or equal value, but it needs to be equal sacrifice. And if you sacrificing sleep and time for your right, and you're not getting that from your partner, like you're undervaluing yourself. I promise you, when I had my second child, I had a situation that let me know that if a person does not respect womanhood and motherhood, like we don't even have a conversation. Like you can't imagine the work that's involved, right? Like if you can't even understand or respect the work that's involved in raising children, I don't need to have a conversation with you. But that like allowed me to create a new standard because before that I didn't, right? Like I thought that the standard was he working hard and he like to wine and dine you, like that was enough.
That's not
Because
enough.
it's not, right? Like there's levels to it, right? And so the entry level might be all right, he willing to take you out and show you a good time, but like what else? Mommy, mom. Yes.
What?
And especially when I think about the standard that I set for my daughters, what am I going to show them? Wait a minute, I'm almost done. As sister.
Very true.
That's a high value baby right there.
Yeah.
She's got that confidence you talking about.
Demands.
For real.
She makes demands. Well, you know what? We didn't quite get to this, and John, just want to say thank you for taking time away from your family, your business to be here with us tonight. You definitely added a lot of value to this conversation, and we do look forward to inviting you back. By the way, you can catch John and Majida every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Momentum Chat. Definitely check in to have those conversations about getting yourself and your finances in order.
And where's Momentum Chat?
You can find them on Facebook in Momentum Mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Momentum Mentors, right?
Can you just go to Majida's page?
You can go to Majida's page and find it. Yep. You can connect with Majida. And if you don't know how to spell momentum, find a dictionary. Sound it out. Work on your value.
You are not high value.
Oh man. But one of the points that we didn't get around to, and it's something that I really want to get into, maybe this will be next time's conversation, is the tangibles and intangibles. And how do you measure the value of those? Right? Because I'm learning, and I'm learning. So as someone who's placed a lot of value for most of my life on intangible qualities, right? And now is really being challenged into producing more tangibly, right? I realize my value system, right, needs some adjustment, but I can't completely ignore or neglect the tangible aspects of it because that's what most people judge life on. But at the same time, so you can overvalue something based on the tangible, but you could also undervalue considerably if you ignore a lot of those intangibles. So we want to come back to this conversation next time and touch on how do you manage, I guess, that system, right? How do you utilize, or how do you combine tangibles and intangibles in order to assess the value? Right? And I know that there's no clear answer.
And here's another part I think we need to get into the next conversation as well. I mean, if we're going to continue this, I just asked Yasmin today, how do you set yourself apart from the crowd? And obviously we ain't going to answer this right now, but if we're talking about value and worth, to me, obviously one of the questions that comes in down the line is like, how do I set myself apart from the crowd as far as a business, as far as looking for a job, as far as on the market. I'm looking for a woman. I'm a woman looking for a man, whatever it is. We live in a world. I mean, like the barrier to entry for everything is very low nowadays. Like if you want to start an online business, anybody can start a website. Anybody can buy the domain. The you know what I mean? The barriers to so what's going to separate you? So where's your value if you're not distinguished from everything else? I think that's a part of this conversation as well. How do you render your competition irrelevant? Essentially, how do you set yourself apart? That's what I'm saying.
I got the perfect answer for that. But you'll have to tune in with us in 2 weeks as we bring back the value conversation. And we're going to be discussing how do you set yourself apart in this low barrier of entry economy and society that we live in. We're going to talk about the tangibles, the intangibles, and distinguishing yourself. How did you say it in the end, Maurice?
How do you render your competition irrelevant?
I love it.
Don't even matter what they're doing because I'm doing something so different. I'm bringing value.
You got all that, Majida? So that will be live on October 27th. So
what?
That's what I said. August 27th. My bad. August 27th. I just started with that R sound.
100%. 2 weeks from now.
All right. Friday. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be talking about how do you render your competition irrelevant. I love it. 100%. I'm gonna come out the gate. What competition?
That's how irrelevant they are. Huh?
What competition, right? We'll have that conversation next time. Once again, Yasmin and John, thank you for chiming in, for sharing your thoughts, for being a part of this this activity with us.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you for having us.
This is our accountability to become higher valued individuals, perceived and not perceived, right? We just here to, as John said, read each other's labels. So as we get more and more familiar and comfortable with each other, I want to do more label reading right here. This is cool.
Right. We're gonna be like
it's about to get real. If it hasn't already.
I just got the vision of, I don't know if anybody's watched this on Netflix, the series Pose, but like in that environment, they're like, read them, and it's like like they tell.
Please bring that dynamic. I'm about to check that out real quick.
Well, it's the LGBTQ community. Like,
I'm familiar. Right. Trust me, if you've heard of it, I've probably heard of it. Majida be in her zone, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh man. She said, read them.
I think we certainly need more of that. Like, people willing to be honest with each other and accept what other people say. Assess it, right? You didn't have to accept it, but assess what other people say.
So listen, if you're a professional, individual, or entrepreneur, a business owner, maybe just a person who wants to get better and you want to get your label read, come join us. Send us a message. Send me a message at Bakar Obey, or you can find me at Bobe_world on Instagram. Send me a message so we can get you on the show. Let's see if we can get you in, all right? Or contact Majida as well. She's hosting for the night. So yeah, let's read some labels on here, man. I'm a drop a list. I'm gonna
read as each other's.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next time. We're gonna do it next time. And I've been hearing this from Majida all my life, is that I think I know everything. I want to address that with you. We're gonna do that live on the call. I know everything. And I know I don't know nothing. I know me pretty well, but I don't know nothing about anything outside of this little space that I'm in right here, John. Like, this is me, and I'm all up in that. But I stay in here. So maybe what's going on outside of me, this is why I'm here with you all. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna have a good time. Thank you again. Hey, this has been the S.E.A.R Mastermind Show with Majida, Maurice, and your MC, Bakar Obey. Thank you. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekends, and
see y'all in 2 weeks.
Peace.